Welcome back. Today we're going to learn about solving inequalities. So last unit we did solve some inequalities, but this unit we're going to go a little bit deeper into solving them with some different types of answers. So up top is just reminding you of how to solve and whether we have open or closed circles. So remember, if it's open, that means we're not including that number as an answer. But if it is closed, which would be your less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, that we are including that as your answer. And we're going to keep in mind that if we multiply or divide by a negative, we got to flip the sign. So example 1 is just pretty straightforward. We're going to start by adding 2, and we're going to divide by 2. So just remember, solving inequality is similar to solving an equation. The only thing we're doing differently is if we're multiplying or dividing by a negative, we need to flip the sign. So here's another example, letter B, but I want to focus on letter C. So first we're going to distribute the negative 2 because we want to get rid of the parentheses. So we're going to do negative 2 times 3x to get negative 6x, and negative 2 times 1 to get negative 2. Everything else stayed the same. So we've got variables on both sides. So we're going to choose to get the variables on either side. I'm going to choose to get it on the left side. So I'm going to add 6x to both sides because it's a negative 6x on the right side. So I'm going to add 6x and add 6x. Now I have negative 6x plus 6x. That becomes 0. They're gone. There's no more x's on the left side. I just left with that negative 2. If I simplify the right side, negative 6x plus 6x, that cancels out as well. So once again, that's gone. There's no more x's. I'm left with 7. So now I got to check the statement because we're not going to add in another variable. My variable's canceled. They are gone. So I'm going to check. Is negative 2 greater than 7? Is owing $2 better than having $7? No, that is not a true statement. So that means there is no solution. There is no value for x that we can plug in that would make this a true statement. Now in letter D, I'm not going to work through everything, but realize that we did have to flip the sign because we divided by a negative. So we divided by a negative 6. We had to flip the sign. So x became greater than or equal to negative 3. So my circle is closed and it's going to the right. So that means any number that is negative 3 or higher will make this a true statement. So let's look at letter F. So I distribute the 5. And I get 10x minus 15 minus 7x is less than or equal to 3x plus 8. Collect like terms, that's what's highlighted in yellow. They're on the same side of the equal sign. So I do exactly what's printed, which would be 10 minus 7. I get 3x. I got variables on both sides. So once again, I want to get them on one side. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Well, 3x minus 3x is 0. There's no more x's on that side, and the same thing on the other side. 3x minus 3x is 0. That's gone. So I'm left with negative 15 is less than or equal to 8. So I got to think about that. Is that a true statement? Is owing someone $15, is that worse than having $8? Yeah, right, because it says 8 is greater than that. So this is a true statement. Because it's a true statement, we're going to have infinitely many solutions. Which means any number that you pick, any value to substitute in, is going to make it a true statement. Now, I did forget to mention on letter C, and I will mention it on letter F, you're not going to actually, letter C, you're not going to graph anything. Okay, there is no solution. You're not going to put a graph on there. Okay, if there's many solutions, when you do graph it, it's just any number. So essentially, you're just retracing the entire line. These are going to be anything that's on there. Example 2 is asking you to write the inequality. So we're going to break this into steps. Your first step, put the variable on the left-hand side. Look where the point is. In this case, it's right above the -3, so that's why we're putting in -3 over here. And this one is on the 4, so that's why we're putting a 4 over here. And now we're going to look to see which way the arrow is pointing. So this is pointing to the right, so my symbol is going to point to the right. And because this is an open circle, it's just going to be greater than. Over here, it is a closed circle. It may be kind of tough to tell with the copies, but it's supposed to be closed. So that means it's going to be a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. But because it's pointing to the left, we want our symbol to point to the left. So that means it's less than or equal to. And then down here are some word problems. You can just read through it. I did not highlight anything this time to show you that you don't have to highlight or underline keywords or key information. You can go ahead and read it and just try and set it up on your own. But if highlighting or underlining is something that does help you, then please go ahead and do that. So the big takeaway from this lesson, we're still solving. We've solved before, but the only difference is now we can have an answer that says no solution or one that says many solutions. So if you have questions, make